You know?
You know what I haven't done in a long time? I haven't like played music live on Fanbase.
That is true. I remember spending my Friday nights with a glass of wine listening to you DJing.
Yeah,
You should do that again.
I need to get back on that because there's a lot of good music out. You know what it was?
Yeah.
The whole Kendrick Drake thing just ruined my whole summer. It was just like it just nobody put out any good music. It was just like it wasn't no music. It was just that one song all summer,
Yeah.
and then Glorilla.
You
So
see
what,
people, sorry, I see people in Jackson, Mississippi, ATL, Tucson, Arizona.
if it wasn't for Glorilla and Sexy Red, summer would have been super boring.
Well, West is in the building. I like that. All right, well, let's get started. I know there's going to be more users joining us, but I think it's 5:05.
Yes.
Welcome, everyone. Here we are on our Town Hall Tuesday. We meet here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We were not able to make it last Tuesday for good reasons, so we apologize for that, but that's an exception. We'll be here every Tuesday. We're here again, full of energy, ready to take over the world, like every day, right?
Yep.
We do this audio room so we can get to talk to you, regardless if you are a new user, existing user, an existing investor, or someone that is thinking about potentially investing in Fanbase. We talked a little bit about our progress on the Regulation A raise. Talked about Fanbase as a business, as a product, as everything really. And then the most important part is we open up to hear questions from you, feedback, and have a great conversation. So with that said, I'm Rama, I'm the CTO for Fanbase. I have the pleasure to be here next to Mr. Isaac Hayes III, our CEO, founder, and visionary. And I'm going to let him do the introduction on our current reggae race.
Attention, attention, attention. We are raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. This is a really amazing achievement, and I'm learning more and more, just briefly, like how important this was. There's a very big meeting that happened here today in our office building, and one of the guys was in venture capital, and I told him, I was like, yeah, we raised 13 million in equity crowdfunding. He goes, you raised 13 million in equity crowdfunding? He goes, I've never really heard of anybody doing something like that before. He goes, how did you do that? And I said, the product. First thing I said, nothing speaks better for Fanbase than the app itself. But he goes, you did a Regulation A, like that's like when you Google that, it's like a mini IPO. And even though he's a bit of I don't know what to call him right now, Grant Cardone, he was like, he was talking about how hard it is to do a Regulation A. We were in an audio room, and I was like, yeah, it's like doing a Reg A is hard.
Yes.
And even when I mentioned the fact that we got a non-review, the gentleman said, you got a non-review? And I was like, yeah, we got a non-objection with Farron. He's like, you did? I was like, yeah. But we don't even got our shit together. But anyway, that's important because it lets you know the type of ship we're running over here and the amazing work that Phil and Ramiro do to make sure that we are, ready to rock and roll when it comes to these raises. So I always got to give them thanks and applause for what they do. So it is $17 million crowdfund that we're doing right now. We're close to almost $3 million. We're at about 2.9, right? We're about 2.9 million, I think. 2.9 million, 60,000, something like that. Almost $3 million raised. What that does is right now you're allowed to actually invest and have equity in Fanbase. So if you don't know what that means, you can go to startengine.com/fanbase. It's on the top of the screen here at actually I should have pinned it. Well, I can't do that. I don't think I can do both. But anyway, it's at the top of the screen on the audio room. You can go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. What that means is you actually get equity in Fanbase. This is not GoFundMe. These aren't donations. This is actual stock in a living, breathing, vibrant company that you have shares you sit on the cap table for. The minimum to invest in Fanbase is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase. It's $665 a share. And we want you to be part of this. I think, as we continue to build and scale and grow and work with the app, having investors in this platform gives people an opportunity to become surrogates, a spokesperson, and advocates of what we're building. You're an owner. You're not just using a platform. You're actually, using something that you own. So we're excited to be able to do this, and we want as many people to be able to invest because we really want to get to $17 million because then we can build all the things everybody wants a lot faster. So the faster the raise goes, the more we're able to do that. So that's why we're here today.
Definitely. And I think it's important also to mention is that, you know, the speed that we raise this money is very important versus just getting to 17, because we know we're going to get to 17.
We're going to get
right?
17 million, yeah.
But definitely we want to accelerate a lot of the efforts that we know are going to really help us grow.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that we'll continue accelerating this race and try to close it as soon as possible. You never know. So we're excited about that.
I love morality.
Yeah. Now we're at 2.961 million. We're very close to 3 million. I think we're gonna. I know I said that last time, but I'm very confident we're gonna make the 3 million this week.
Oh, I know we're going to.
Okay.
Because I'm about to do some stuff.
Oh, okay. I see. That's always exciting. So what I want to add is, Isaac mentioned some of the reasons why someone should invest in Fanbase. It's not like any other investment, but I also want to share some of the extra perks that you get when you invest on Fanbase. Now, if you're an existing investor, and we got a lot of emails in support about this week. If you're an existing user, you get automatically 5% bonus shares, right? So if you invest in any of the 3 crowdfunding rounds that we did in the past, you're gonna get 5%. Then, depending on how much you invest, you also get other perks. So tier 1 is $600 or more. You're gonna be part of our early access list where you get to test some of the features before anyone else. Tier 2 is $1,000 or more. You're gonna be also part of the list. You're gonna get 10,000 labs. Those 10,000 labs you can use in Fanbase to support any of the great creators that we have inside the platform. And you also get a verified profile badge. Okay. Tier 3 is $2,500 or more. And you get everything I mentioned, 15,000 labs. You're gonna get a Fanbase t-shirt. By the way, if you're already invested, you might get an email between today and tomorrow for you to claim your perks. So if you're an investor for this race round, make sure you're looking at your email. So you're gonna get a t-shirt and also a verified profile badge. Then we have tier 4, which is $5,000 or more. You're gonna get everything I mentioned, 20,000 lab, a t-shirt, an early investor gold verified badge. That's the special verified badge. And you also get 5% bonus shares, which means that if you are an existing investor from prior rounds and you're investing $5,000 or more in this round, you're gonna get 10% bonus shares, so 10% more equity in Fanbase. Last but not least is our tier 5, $10,000 or more. Everything I share, 30,000 labs, t-shirts, gold verified badge. You're also gonna get a private dinner with us. I promise we're gonna get all of the diamond investors together once we're close with this race. And you also get 10% bonus shares. Again, if you're an existing investor, you're gonna end up getting 15% bonus shares. 5% for being an existing investor and 10% for tier 5, okay? So 5 additional reasons why you could invest on Fanbase. Good news is that we are stacking the tiers. So that means that if this month you invest $500, but next month you invest another $500, we can consider you as a tier 2. Now, the only thing that we cannot stack are the bonus shares because we don't control those. Start Engine does, and Isaac will talk a little bit about the process about investing and Start Engine, right? But everything else, labs, t-shirts, verified profile badges, everything, we can stack it for you so you can invest as many times as you want and really as much as you want.
Yep.
Now, if you invest more than $14 million, then you're closing the round for us. So
You'll be our best friend.
thank you very much. Definitely. We'll have dinner for
We'll give you a
sure.
parking spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. At least one.
You get one parking spot.
Definitely. All right. So, with that said, someone's saying, are we saying the audio load again? Not really.
No.
With that said, let's see, we have already some questions about this. I just wanted to clarify. I know Danny asked if we were at 13 million this round. We're not yet. We would like to. We raised 13 million so far throughout all 4 rounds.
4 rounds. Yeah.
Right.
10 million in 3 Reg CF rounds, and then 3 million, about 3 million in this regulation A round.
Yeah, definitely. And then I like this question because it might push us into explain a little bit of why Fanbase is different.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked, can we run paid ads here?
Interesting.
can we run ads on Fanbase?
Are they talking about them or us?
Well, I'm assuming it can be a business,
Yeah.
any business, but we're not traditional ad centric.
We're not.
Right?
We're not an ad centric platform for this reason. But advertising is something that people always want to be able to do on social media. The reason is because ad centric models limit the visibility of every user. We wind up being in competition with you. If we were to run ads on Fanbase, we would actually compete against your visibility because the likelihood that someone would come directly to you and run an ad on your page rather than spend money at Fanbase is very high. So for that reason, that's what all platforms do, which is suppress your content that forces advertisers to come and do business with them. So that is the reason why we don't run advertising, and we want a platform that focuses on entertainment, community, and monetization for people. So we want people to be visually entertained, audio entertained, and do that. So advertising is not necessarily part of the roadmap or part of the plan of what Fanbase is built off of.
But we can maybe let everyone into, it's not a secret, but really what we believe is going to be the future, because we don't believe that traditional advertising is the way, and it's unfair, like you said, to creators and users. But we do believe in what we call branded experiences, where actually businesses, organizations, brands can collaborate with Fanbase and creators and actually do a different type of advertising and branded. Branded audio rooms is an example of branded experiences as well, right? So
I saw a change in branded audio rooms, but I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh yeah, you
know
noticed that?
Yeah.
On mobile? Yeah. On mobile. Yeah.
I was like, wow.
So branded experiences is the future for us as well. I know that our revenue model for you that are new, you can make money by getting love, or also you can purchase love, but also by subscriptions. So right now we have 2 revenue avenues in Fanbase, but in the future we want to diversify that, and it will involve doing partnerships with brands, businesses, and so on, where we're going to have these branded experiences not only in audio but in other verticals as well, and we're starting to work on those ideas. So again, like I said, it's not that we're against advertising. We are not for traditional advertising that shadow bans creators. We think that's unfair, but in the future we definitely see advertising in a creative way.
Yeah, and if you think about it, advertising has not changed much in the past 20 years when it comes to platforms. You scale a platform up to a bunch of users and you start running ads.
Well, someone is making money.
Yeah, it's just not the users, it's just not the people that make the
I don't think the question is that traditional ad allows you to make money. It does, but it's not fair to the users that are actually making the content, and that's what we're trying to change here.
There's an economic value to your reach. So we want to give people the maximum amount of reach they have on social media for 2 reasons. That same visibility also gives people the ability to tip you for your content and increase the likelihood that someone will subscribe if you decide to make exclusive content. So therefore, if you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of people that follow you to subscribe to you, you can build a sustainable business month over month, and then you can factor in the tipping. So that's the reason why we want it. I have never seen a world. I haven't seen a world where somebody can be live and have 50 million people watching them, but it's going to be interesting when that world exists, when we have many people. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Sorry, I'm getting close to the microphone because I know some people saying that it's low, so maybe that's to make a difference.
If it's low, go back. If it's low, minimize the video or leave the room and come back in. The volume might be louder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good hack.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so what I want to talk a little bit about that we haven't mentioned in a while is why $17 million and what are you guys doing with the money? Why do I say what are you doing rather than what are you going to do when you get the money? Is because as we raise this money, thankfully, we're also getting access to the money so we can start activating things. Before I share how we're going to be using this money, I think, Isaac, it would be great if you can share with the audience the process and how can Fanbase get to access that money every so often.
So the process of investing in Fanbase is a multi-step process, about 5 or 6 steps. The first thing that I want to say is when you invest in Fanbase, you invest through a platform called StartEngine. StartEngine is our partner, basically the partner that is the administrator of running these rounds that we raise capital on. So think of StartEngine as your wallet. So not a crypto wallet, but your wallet that holds your shares. So you would log into startengine.com after you invest. Anything to do with your shares in Fanbase, you can always find in your Start Engine account. You won't find it on Fanbase. You will find it in your Start Engine account. So we're going to go through the process. You go to startengine.com. You click Get Equity, right? The minimum to invest is $399. You'll see that somewhere. The average investment size is $1,000. You click Invest. What that does is you answer a series of questions, right? And then once you answer those questions, your money goes into escrow. And escrow means we don't have it and you don't have it. And in that time period, that period of time, Start Engine does something what they call a money laundering background check, which means they want to make sure that you're not trying to launder money because people are trying to launder money through these types of raises before. It takes about 2 or 3 days. Once it's done, that's clear. Once that happens, you will receive an email that says, okay, now are you ready to submit your funds to be invested in Fanbase? So it's basically like the Are You Sure portion of investing in Fanbase, which is really good because they want to give investors plenty of time to decide whether they want to invest or not, if it's the right time, the right decision to make. So once you get that email, because a lot of people have gotten, left that around before because they think they just went to that first step and they were invested. It's like, no, you never confirm your investment. So if you don't confirm your investment, it won't move to the next phase. And that next phase is that money goes into a disbursement queue. It's like a bank account that's on the side for us. Whenever we call Start Engine and say, hey, Start Engine, send us some of that money that's sitting over there on the side. We want to use it to do things with the app. Start Engine sends us that capital into our bank account. Once it hits our bank account, you are invested in Fanbase at that point. So that process can take anywhere from 2 days to weeks, except out of the fact that when we do the capital call to have the money put into the account. But we're going to call on the capital because we want to continue to build the platform. So, but after that's done, that's the process, that 5-step process. So remember, you invest, escrow, Are You Sure, basically confirm your investment, right? Money hits the disbursement queue, and then once it gets into Fanbase's bank account, you're invested in Fanbase. So that's the process of investing in Fanbase.
Definitely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what are we doing with this money. Obviously, we're seeking to continue growing, and growing is not just mainly product, but a big chunk of it is to keep developing the product, right? Our idea is to continue giving value to our users, creators, and partners, and that sometimes means making sure we have the right tools that allows you to create great content or to consume great content as well, and that takes effort. Now, from a product perspective, we want to definitely continue scaling the platform, and I always mention this: scaling does not mean going out there and getting 1,000 engineers so we can move quicker. That doesn't, most of the time, doesn't actually allow you to move quicker, but rather move slower, right? So we want to keep the nimbleness that we have, where if we need to shift directions, we can do so. And I think that's been something that has been very special about Fanbase. I know that other platforms are trying to turn into what Fanbase is fully monetized, but they can't. Not only for the revenue model, just because these are such large organizations that they can do that, right?
And they're publicly traded companies, so the shareholders will be like, why are you not selling ads anymore?
Yeah.
You're about to start selling ads and go to subscriptions? Like, who told you to do that? So
you're crazy.
Yeah, you're nuts.
Yeah, definitely. So how are we going to be scaling the app? Well, different ways. So for those that are technical, you will appreciate this. Number one is we want to continue investing in building better architectures. We have iOS, Android, web, and it's not just laying a piece of code. How you lay it, in what infrastructure, do you own the infrastructure, really matters. So we want to be very conscious and strategic how we continue growing our architecture, because that also talks about Fanbase as a company. We believe in ownership, and ownership goes into the code and into the architecture as well. We want to continue automating a lot of the things that we do, especially when we test. For those that know development, you know that if you want to test more, the solution is not to, hey, let's grab 100 QA people that can test manually. Is to build better code, make sure you have automation and tests, so you can still do manual testing, but it complements the feature rather than have to do a regression over the entire feature. So automation is another way that we want to scale. This requires specific skill sets, does require more resources, of course, but it requires time. When you have a small team, you don't have a lot of times because you gotta every 2 weeks you gotta come out with new features and fixes and so on. When you have a larger team, you can dedicate resources to be more strategic on things, and that's the direction we want to go, and that's what we want to be using the money on the product side and the technical side. All right. Tell them a little bit about our catch-up functionality and disruptive, because I know that's something that you just gave me a list, a PDF.
Oh, yeah. Well, so
don't tell them what they are. Just
no, I'm not gonna tell them what they are. But what I will say is this: the challenge in building a platform like Fanbase in the current environment of social media is every other social media's platform ceiling is our floor. So however good TikTok or Instagram is, I think a user is getting on Fanbase expecting at least that. So for that reason, we need capital to build some of the things that users expect to have. So users expect to have dark mode or music in their Flick videos or certain things like that, more filters or things that you have. So we really have to take money to actually advance some of the catch-up functionality. And then we're very, very creative when we have a bunch of other ideas and things that we do. Like I said, I show Ramiro, two functionalities that we've had for quite a while that other platforms just added to their platform. So again, our ideas are just as valid and as creative as other platforms, but that catch-up functionality is extremely important. And something else that I want to say that's and I haven't talked about this. And again, I just want to be very candid. I do not know what's going to happen with TikTok. What I do know is that articles have been coming out in the last week or so that say that January 19th, 2025, TikTok is going to get banned in the United States of America. That is a real possibility that happens. And what we want Fanbase to be ready for is to take on those users that don't want to go to Instagram and want to come to Fanbase and start fresh and have the opportunity to build and monetize from that point. And we need capital to be able to do those kinds of things, scale up Flicks to make it a lot more functional and fun and creative and giving it the tools. Because we really, honestly, most of the things that these platforms have done are things that we prototyped before. Like, if you think about this, I'm saying this to Romero, if you think about this, none of the platforms had region-based editing. Remember?
Yeah.
There wasn't. That's like 2 years ago, 3 years ago that we were talking about.
Well, but I mean, that's sometimes a good sign. It means that we're going the right direction. And related to that, part of how we're going to be using this money too, as we come up with these disruptive functionalities that could potentially be copy or span across other platforms, we want to protect them. So IP protection is very big for us, and why we want to use a portion of the money that we raise to that. And we come up with new ideas that we know are going to be big, and sometimes we can afford time-wise and money-wise to protect it. And sometimes we can. We just gotta go out there and do it, right? So we want to definitely get better on that, and that's going to be also another reason.
But that terminology is called? It's called building a moat, and also capital allows you to build a moat. Capital allows you to advance out in front of everybody else and kind of plant your flag as the platform that does this. And then once people get comfortable, they're used to saying, "Oh, this is where I go to do this," and they stay. And that's building a moat. So you definitely want to be able to build moats around some of the functionality that we do. Watch Party is something I would love to build a moat around, because every time somebody sees this, everybody's like, nobody's doing this. This is like an amazing, idea. And so it was really, like I said, it's something we have been sitting on for a while, and the limitless possibilities that are there with Watch Party, you're there.
So I'm seeing some comments. I'm gonna make sure we don't miss them. But someone mentioned about developer tools. Believe me, Fanbase itself is the decentralized platform, if you think about it, right? And I love decentralization, so I would love to be able to also do some crowd developing as well. So being able to give developer tools, webhooks, and so on is something that I would love to do. But again, architecture has a lot to do with that, right? And I did mention that we were working with a new reward program where we are implementing public webhooks for the first time, or testing around with that. So there's definitely a roadmap. I'm not saying
that. Can you explain what a public webhook is?
Well, basically what you're doing is you're enabling other developers to create and integrate with Fanbase, right? So the responsibility of creating features or creating integrations does not fall only on Fanbase
Right.
developers, right? And you do that under a framework, documentation, right? You can't just say, hey, here's the endpoint, go and have fun. So it requires time, and
Yeah.
you know you gotta be also have security, scalability considerations, and so definitely I would love to do it. I think we're gonna get to that, but again, it's not gonna be this year. I'm hoping next year. And again, anything can change. If tomorrow we close this race, we'll be having a different conversation. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thomas says, will there be another round after this one? Are you planning to close this round prior to 17 million, or will you be waiting until you reach 17 million?
Well, the goal is to raise $17 million, and the question of whether we will raise more capital, I would say the likelihood is yes. Do we want to, because of really, I guess streamlining that monetization model that we have and really fine tuning it as a well-oiled machine? We might not ever need to raise capital again, but it's sometimes when you need to raise large amounts of capital, if you say you want to take advantage of a market or try to get out ahead, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we see that in a year or 2 years, this platform is going to be able to do this. We had, $150 million right now. We could get 3 or 4 or 5 years ahead of everybody, and you take that capital on, and then you scale and build, and you jump out and try to own the future. So I would say the likelihood of us raising more capital is there, not at the same valuation that we have right now, but the likelihood is there because, again, the capital just gives us the ability to scale faster. One thing that I will continue to stand on is I will not scoff at $13 million. That is a lot of money, but that is a drop in the bucket compared to what some other startups have been able to raise, and they haven't been able to accomplish, a tenth of what Fanbase has been able to do. So
It's true.
we're very proud of that.
Well, someone said that I didn't know this. Someone won the lottery in Gwinnett County, so we might want to, telling them, hey, just throw 14 million over. You know?
Hey man, you are more than welcome to do that. I told you, you get a parking space up here. You can come to the office every day.
All right. Let's see. I'm going through all the questions, guys, making sure.
Well, Swag said something here on
Yeah.
Swag said something really cool here on the YouTube channel. He said, I appreciate the chat bubble highlighted when a new message pops up in the chat.
Once in a while, we do these small things that might go unnoticed, but they're like
They're there. We know that
they're like soft things to the users. Here you go.
little modifications.
We love spoiling you guys.
You guys say it's a little thing.
You should see last Thursday. They won. They won. The how you call it, the dark mode. Yeah, I mean they went at me. I'm like, going no, dark mode. We're gonna spoil you one day with dark mode. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have how many investors in this new round? Like 2,500 new investors in this new round, right?
Yeah, how wrong.
And then the users that are on the platform, I'm telling you, like, you guys, no one can speak better for Fanbase than the app itself. But then, secondly, or probably in a tertiary way, are the users that use the platform that can say, you yourself can tell your friends, you need to invest in this platform and make some investment decisions. And it's not a lot to become part of that. That's why I love equity crowdfunding, because it is a low risk, high reward opportunity. Sometimes people that invest in tech startups have to put $5, $10, $15, $20,000 down, but to be able to have equity for $399. And what someone said to me today, and this event that had, there was another person that was in private equity saying, yeah, and I was like, he goes, oh, I'm going to invest like, because if I had $100 million, I'd just give it to Fanbase right now. He said, I said, well, it's only $399 to invest, because he goes, I want to see a return on my investment. I said, you understand that Fanbase is valued at $160 million, right? And it's like, I said, only $160 million. He goes, only? You think that's small? I was like, no. I was like, but Instagram's like a $200 billion company. Facebook's a $1.3 trillion company. We have the ability to scale to that. So don't think that you cannot see a return on your $399, because our vision is not to cash out quickly. Our vision is to take this to the highest valuation that Fanbase can be and exit either through an IPO or an acquisition. So I'm not trying to have people not see a return or not see a significant return on investment. But to be clear, and I say this all the time, it's extremely important that people got to know. If you talk to anybody that's in the finance world, that's in investing in stocks, 12 to 14% return on your investment is golden. You put $1 in something and you get $1.14 back, you won. So the fact that people have put their money in Fanbase and now have 8x their money, that's well above, 14%.
We still have a lot of work to do.
We have a lot of work to do, but it's way better than 14%.
I'm not gonna repeat the statement that Rede said, but I can tell you, Rede, that we're not spending the money in any of that.
What is that? What does it say?
He said, I hope you're not buying.
Oh no.
No, we're not. You know what? Sometimes Isaac and I talk about that. There's so many founders out there that are like wasting their money on parties and like stuff like that. And I have to say that we're blessed to have a founder like Isaac. Now, he has his things. I'm going to say no one is perfect. We all do. But he does not waste the money on partying, on doing things. And, you might think that that's abnormal, but it's very normal in the tech industry having founders that they just waste money.
The event that they had, we've done a couple of events, but even the event that was here today at our headquarters where we are, that was a pretty expensive event. And we don't do it. And we don't do those.
Yeah.
And that's normal. That's nothing. That was a drop in the bucket. I think that might have cost, they said that might have cost 15 grand just to do that. I'm like, just for that? I'm like, nah, man. I was like, see, Romero got me talking like him. So he's like, do you know what 15 grand can get us? We could build this functionality with $15,000 worth of development. So now I think is everything of what goes into making the app or our progress better as opposed to saying what's going to make us look cool, right?
Yeah.
So throwing a party at Coachella or, or you need to do some activations. Somebody said that. You need to start doing activations. I said, is it going to activate user growth? Is it going to activate revenue? If it's not going to activate user growth or revenue, there's no reason to do it. We don't need to look.
Yeah.
I don't need to be looking cool because we have a tent or we're on some sort of step and repeat that we paid $20,000 a deal on. That doesn't do anything for the app. We got to really, really be working on, scaling the business.
Definitely. All right. I'm seeing a lot of comments on the volume. It could be a combination of several things. Maybe the setup that we have now, but also we're working on volume controls for Watch Party version 2.0 as well.
Also, it might be you're on an iPhone 11.
That is true because I have an iPhone 12 and I have the same problem, and Isaac was making fun of me. So I guess it's working for me, but I know I'm the CTO. I should have an iPhone 16.
I don't honestly how we work at a tech company. We don't have the latest tools for like the most updated tools.
I have the latest Android.
Yeah, okay, well there you go. Cool. And also something else that I think you guys also might do, and this is just from a technical standpoint that some people forget about, and I know you don't think it's important, but also update your operating system on your phone. Updating the OS on your phone also sometimes can solve a lot of the issues because we build Fanbase for the most current version of whatever OS is out at the time.
Well, actually, let me see if I can say the username correct. I got Pesoy Labs. The reason why I think you're having all those problems is because you're not on the latest version, and I can tell because you're having issues to seeing comments on the chat room, and that's something that we had in prior versions. So make sure you go to the Android Google Play Store and download the latest version. I guarantee you that's going to fix a lot of your problems, okay?
Yeah.
Another question here, and I think you mentioned already, but it's good to repeat it again. Are there any plans of getting TikTok users if it does get banned in the US? Any strategies in mind?
Well, the first strategy that we came up with is something that we filed a patent for, which is content migration. So the ability for you to be able to migrate so think of Fanbase as a backup. Like, okay, I'm going to move all my content from TikTok over to Fanbase just in case something happens with TikTok. And I'm saying I've gotten tagged in like 2 or 3 videos that have been shared on media that saying, yo, this whole TikTok thing is really like, they haven't, because I think there was the reason why I think the story came out is there was a certain amount of time that they expected them to be able to have a deal done if someone's going to buy it. So let's say someone's going to buy TikTok, it would take them at least 90 days to get a deal done. So apparently there is no deal on the table past that 90 days. So that's why I'm saying, look, this thing's going to get banned. Now, if they come up with a deal, they might be able to extend it long enough to get the deal done. But again, it looks like the platform's going to be banned. And so that's, our plan. Our plan also is, and I keep telling Ramiro, like, it's like, and this is something that I think we haven't said, and we need to say, which is important. Although we're raising $17 million, we're not going to spend all $17 million in a year, right? It's the ability to scale and build things faster. So even if I can talk to Ramiro, I said even if we were at $6 million right now, we'd probably be able to put the gas on building some of those things that help us catch TikTok a lot. So it's not that we need to get to 17 million. We just maybe need to get to 6 million.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot easier, lift by a community to be able to say, oh, well, if we get Fanbase to $6 million, we get dark mode, we get a version of TikTok that's better, we get RTMP streaming, we get music, we get all those things, right away. So don't think that we have to, grab the whole bag. It just gives us the ability to scale and build a lot faster. So I don't want people to think that we need to raise $17 million and have it today. We have a 3-year plan for that capital that gives us a good amount of runway. And based on how conservative we are with our capital, we can take some risks and be able to do some things and speed up the process.
Definitely. Radace, you don't need Cash App in Fanbase. You can cash right from Fanbase.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah.
And if they
you
build
might need that in other platforms too.
If they build that new feature that I showed them last week.
Oh yeah. You can say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
All right. Let's see. I'm going through some other questions. Silvana, where do they send the invites to the events? I'm assuming that's for investors, but I want to take advantage of that question just to share how we communicate with investors. Mm-hmm. Number one is, once you invest in Fanbase, you automatically follow Fanbase in Start Engine. We are communicating through Start Engine at least 2 or sometimes 3 times a week through Start Engine. Once you invest, you're a confirmed investor, we get your information, and we also do investors newsletters as well. That's number 2. Number 3, this is another way we communicate. We do these audio rooms specifically for investors as well, so they can ask questions. And number 3, we also have a dedicated email for investors as well that you can reach out at any time. So I think one of the good things about this round compared to other rounds is that it really got us much closer to our investor community.
Absolutely.
I think before we were a smaller team, it was harder. We were really on the day by day. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like we're really trying to let you guys know what we're doing. Even our challenges, right? Not everything has to be perfect. Everything is working. We have challenges. We tell you, hey, these are the challenges that we have, and this is how we're tackling them, and we think we're going to solve them.
YouTube right now.
How you start is not how you finish, and you're going to evolve, and a lot of things that we want to do with the app. Sometimes it's trial and error, and sometimes it's just like, okay, figuring out what people want, what users want, what experience they want, but also how we accomplish the goal of leading the creator economy into the next era of whatever that is called, and how people really monetize and make money, because that's something that's very, very foreign to a lot of people. I still think we're probably a good couple of years away from it being normal for people to get paid for their content.
Yeah, just like I always say, that users are still used to the old-fashioned way of social media. Mm-hmm. But the more and more we're seeing out there, the what I call the aha moment, right? Mm-hmm. They make the money, they're like, oh man, I just made $1 on Fanbase. I haven't made that in TikTok, mm-hmm. In the past 5 years that I've been there.
100%.
So what we're trying to do as we try to grow the platform is also try to not only educate and get the user closer to the new mentality of the future, mm-hmm. which is your content has value, but also try to get you as quick as possible to that aha moment, to either for you to make money or for you to support a creator. Because again, even though we believe everyone is a creator in Fanbase, mm-hmm. some users, they don't want to create content, they just want to go and consume content, and that's fine.
Well, but here's the thing though, you are a content creator whether you choose to be one or not. And the example is, in the course of this entire audio room, if you have said anything in the chat room, guess what? You're a content creator.
And money too.
And next to your comment in the chat is an icon where somebody can love what you said and you make money. That's what I mean by every person is a content creator. Every comment, every audio room, every story, every live, in the DMs, like everywhere that it creates an opportunity for someone to stay on the platform longer is an entryway point for you to make money. So that's in the DMs, that's in a story, that's on a live, that's on a post, it's in a Twitch video, it's on a Fanbase Plus video, it's in an audio room, on the stage, it's in the comment section. So it's everywhere. So we are all content creators because those are all the things that contribute to the eyeball and ear attention that you get on a platform.
Yeah, definitely. And today we're seeing new users coming and making some great content. I'm already seeing like on the first day they have 100 laps here, 100 laps there. That gets me excited. That's what tells me it works. It's gonna grow, and it's the future. But sometimes it just takes time. And we're okay with it.
People don't, and again, it's a generational thing. I think younger generations understand that transactional behavior because, again, like I know people that subscribe to content creators on platforms that don't get anything exclusive. They just want to support the person and see them win. They just want to say, look, I want to be part of the growth. I want to be part of your story. So when you become huge, we're like, yo, I helped him get to that point. And that's a great way to supporting a creator just by subscribing, even if they don't create content or they feel like they want to start to create content. If somebody comes over here, you can also do that too. It's not like you used to say, hey, look, you can create the opportunity to say, hey, look, I'm new to Fanbase. I want to start doing X, Y, Z. If I can get 20 subscribers, I can start to do this, right? If I can get 100 subscribers, I can start to give you guys this, and I'll deliver that type of content. So don't think that you need to have it all figured out. Starting is the hardest part. That's the hardest part, and it's gonna suck. And it might be slow, and you might not make any money, and people might not pay attention to you. All of that is part of the process. But if you continue and continue and continue, it's only gonna grow and grow and grow. I think people have the expectation of, we're in the microwave economy. I throw something on social media. I'm a superstar overnight. I went viral. I got brand deals. I'm making money. Like, that's 99.9% of people that does not happen. It's people that you didn't know that someone like Casanat was streaming on Twitch for 6 years before when he was like 16 years old. Before those first 5 or 6 years that you never heard of him, he was grinding it out, not making a lot of money, and then these opportunities start to happen. So it's also about consistency.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And we're seeing a lot of users that are gaining subscribers, which is exciting, but going back to your consistency, right? So if you are a creator that creates exclusive content, which is behind a paywall, you have to be consistent, and you have to be, it doesn't work if you post something exclusive today and then in 4 weeks you post again. You gotta keep engaging with those that actually want to support you, right? So we know it's not easy, and part of our job is trying to make that as simple as possible, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something we didn't say that is also part of the efforts that we're going to do with this money is insights. We've been working a lot on insights. We actually did a partnership with Branch.io, and we revamped our entire backend insight infrastructure. We're super excited. We're getting amazing data, but the data is not only for us to make the right decisions. We want to curate and give you that data so you can make the right decisions as well. So it's not only for us to create tools for you, but also give you information that allows you to feel like it's not overwhelming, that it's easy. Hey, I just posted in Flix and Fanbase Plus, but I'm saying I'm making a lot of money in Flix, so I'm going to just focus more on Flix, right? Focus your effort. So we have a very large roadmap of us supporting you through this journey. And I think as you go through this journey and you start making money more and more every month and gaining more followers and so on, you're going to come to a realization that Fanbase is for real. So,
and I'll say this too, it's the little things. And if you're using a platform, right? Because some people, I get a question a lot of times like, well, how can I grow? How can I get more engagement on the platform? Well, the first thing I would say is be present. When you start a Fanbase page, if it's just a gray F with no content, then no one knows you're here. Or if you post one photo or every 3 months, people have the expectation of activity. So if I go by and say, oh, it's like check in, it's almost like, remember at AOL, like the last time somebody signed in was 3 months ago, it's like, they haven't signed in 3 months. So it's like, you're not even here. So 2 things that you can do. Well, the first thing that you can do, I would say, is migrate your content from either Instagram or TikTok. If you have an Instagram page or a TikTok profile, migrate your content over, because what that does is it populates your page with content that people can see and engage with, and you can make money with, and you look present. And then be consistent about posting on all your platforms. So I share on all platforms. If I post something on Instagram or TikTok, I post on Fanbase, but I post on LinkedIn, I post on X, I post it on Facebook. I post my content everywhere. All the new platforms where I can post this content. I post that content where people can see it. So you got to be present and you got to be consistent.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm also getting excited because I'm starting to see a lot of revenue being generated in other areas that we knew was going to happen, but it hasn't happened. For example, DM. We're starting to see people making a lot of money in DM, which is exciting. Like how many monetized DMs?
DM.
It goes down in DM.
FYI, what happens in the DM stays in the DM. I'm just saying. That's all I'm gonna say. We don't know what you guys are doing in DM.
Be careful, guys. Be careful. Don't get us in trouble.
We don't know what's going on at DM.
We have TOS. But yeah, definitely we're starting to see, a lot of the things that we've been talking about for quite some time come to reality, and we're excited, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Yeah. So that's why we invite everyone to continue helping as a user, as an investor, reinvest again. We'll make it worth. If you haven't invested in Fanbase, come and own and be part of the Fanbase journey and family. This is definitely
Fanbase the partnership program.
15, 30 years, right?
Hey, I'm telling you, it's gonna move. Listen, one thing that I am starting to even evolve in is understanding that social media is not social media anymore. It's really the new television. It's really the new form of media. And as a founder and as a user of social media at the same time, I try to lean into the trends that I feel like are coming. And so, people are passing up bigger televisions for mobile screens. They're passing up 2-hour movies for 5-minute pieces of content that they can swipe. They're passing up switching channels for swiping. It's just behaviors. And I'm telling you, if you want to know where I do most of my watching is like, I might go to bed, but if I happen to wake up and need to get a glass of water, I'm up for at least I'm up for at least another 30 minutes just seeing what's happening. And I'll look at one piece of content before you know it, I'm scrolling at 3:30 in the morning. Like, I need to go back to bed. But that's the new television for me, and you get caught up in that. And so that's really something that we take advantage of. Or like an audio conversation. I'll pop in, be middle of the night, people be here having a conversation, and I'll be listening to what's going on, and things like that. It's just like, it's the new TV. And if we don't think about it like that, we're not doing our job to try to be ahead of the curve and see around corners. It's not pictures and captions anymore. Even though I make really amazing photos, I look really good in a fur coat. But it's more than that. So it's a more immersive media experience that really demands the attention of your eyes and ears. And that's the battle that we're in a battle for everybody's eyes.
Background check and note that you physically got your shares.
So the background check takes about anywhere from 2 days to 5 days. Depends probably on the amount of capital you invest. And most is like 2 days. You get it really, really quick. Your shares will be visible inside of your Start Engine page. So once you're invested in Fanbase, you'll know it'll say invested. Like you'll be able to see that within your Start Engine account. Again, to repeat that, we are not the custodian of your shares. We don't hold your shares. Start Engine holds your shares. So they are responsible for holding those shares for you. You know where your Start Engine account is. You know where your Fanbase shares are. You might invest in other companies down the road on Start Engine or invest in Fanbase again. All those shares will be in that same location on your Start Engine account. So if you invested in Fanbase in 2020 and come back in 2024, it's the same place. It's always going to be in your Start Engine account.
Definitely. All right. Well, it's 5:53. Let's start doing a wrap up because I want to always close with our Fanbase promise. I always love closing with that.
I knew you were going to say that.
I sent you the link just now, but
yeah.
Let's do a summary, and who better than you to do it?
Okay. Well, we are close to $3 million in our $17 million crowd fund. I want you who are watching and listening right now to tell your friends to go invest in Fanbase today. I want you to call like 25 people. Literally, like DM them the link. DM the startengine.com/fanbase link. Like send it to them, text it to them, tell your friends, yo, invest in this app. Matter of fact, do it as a Christmas present. Halloween is like in 2 days. After Halloween, Mariah Carey's about to show up. And like 3 days from now, so I'm like, and do that for the next like 60 days, right? So All I want for Christmas is for somebody to buy some shares in Fanbase for a family member, or, a niece, nephew, cousin, granddaughter, parent or whatever. You can do that on startengine.com/fanbase, and the minimum is $399. That's a good Christmas present, a little $400 stock, and whoever you give this to might not like you today. They might say, "Look, I wanted this UGG, boot package. Well, I got you some stock in Fanbase," and they're gonna say, "Well, that's not what I asked for." But 10 years from now, they're gonna be like, "Thank you," because now I can buy 100 pairs of books.
I like that.
And so the minimum to invest is $399. That gives you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase. It's $665 a share at a valuation of $160 million. If you want to do some calculations from $160 million, do this. I'm not saying that this is what Fanbase will ever be worth, but I like to play with numbers. Go from 160, take 160 million, but take 160 billion and divide that by 160 million and see how much that is. And then you'd be like, oh, and then say, if I invest that, if Fanbase gets to even almost what Instagram is worth, that's how much my shares will be worth. I like to play with numbers. No guarantees. I'm not making any guarantees. But those types of returns are absolutely possible, especially in tech and social media. Now, if we were selling candy bars, I'm like, it's gonna be hard to get to a $160 billion candy bar company. But this is technology, and this is technology that everybody uses and everybody's engaged and wants to be a part of. So again, invest. Tell your friends to invest. Everybody invest, and then use the platform, as much as you possibly can. Have fun.
Definitely. All right. So with that said, again, if you are an existing OG user, thank you so much, guys, for being here and helping Fanbase become what it is. If you're a new user, we welcome you. We're excited to have you. For existing investors, again, thank you so much for believing in us.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me that we work really, really hard every day. It's not easy. We have great wins, we have challenges, and we always try to say, okay, how can we, tackle those challenges? But we're excited. And we know we're gonna continue growing. And if you're not an investor, like Isaac said, come and join, okay? But next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we have other amazing audio rooms for our users. We have also the marketing team, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. My Thursday Tech Talk, Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You want to talk about tech and product, come on over. But we're around, and we'll continue being around and growing this beautiful monster, like I always like to say.
That's his word.
Beautiful monster. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to let Isaac finish up with our Fanbase promise. So if you want to know what Fanbase is about, we put together an amazing piece of content that I think defines us as a team, as a company, as a movement. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you.
We'll sign off right now, and we'll see you next week on the Tuesday Town Hall Fanbase. All right? Later,
Thank
everybody.
you, guys.
What do you call someone forced to receive?
But the ability to overcome. We stand for those who defy suppression, who speak out, and those who walk the road less traveled. Everyone deserves to be seen and their voices be heard. We're sparking a movement, growing a community of creators united by the desire for freedom, choice, equity, and ownership. At Fanbase, it's all for one and one for all. We support each other to guide, promote, and uplift you in a place where you can unapologetically be yourself. A place where your voice, ideas, and creativity are not just welcomed, but celebrated. We are Black-founded, minority-funded, and supported by a diverse, inclusive, powerful community that believes in the strength of authenticity and individual choice. Regardless of success or background, we welcome you. The marginalized, the underappreciated, the successful, the superstar. We're for all who seek a space to express themselves freely, where they are rewarded for being their authentic, true self. We transcend labels because only we have the right to define ourselves. We are built for the brave, the culture, the creators, and for the future where everyone has a power to shape their own destiny. Where where all are empowered, voices are amplified, and freedom is embraced. For the first time, you have a chance to own the platform you helped make popular. It's a revolution. A movement in how we connect, create, and share.
Link in the bio. Link is in my bio. Fanbase. Subscribe for your chance to win 1,000 loves. Link in the bio. Thank you. And I will see you next time, YouTube.